that Whoopi Goldberg and Joy Behar and the rest of the ladies on The View spend their time calling Republicans the conspiracy theorists.
In a cultural clash that has sent shockwaves through both the media industry and political discourse, a storm is brewing around two very different public figures. Whoopi Goldberg, the veteran co-host of The View and progressive firebrand, and Caroline Leavitt, a bold, young conservative voice with a reputation for sharp comebacks and unapologetic ideals. What started as a heated exchange on national television has now erupted into a high-stakes legal drama, one that not only threatens the legacy of a long-running talk show but also calls into question the unchecked influence of media elites. It began like many of The View's infamous debates, heated, laced with sarcasm, and wrapped in an air of moral superiority.
Women are completely out of touch with reality, and you're right, ABC should wake up.
Caroline Leavitt was invited as a guest, and rather than a respectful conversation, she found herself the target of a barrage of dismissive commentary. Joy Behar took the first swipe, reducing Caroline's political rise to mere looks, with a snide remark referencing Donald Trump's rumored comment about her appearance. Then came Whoopi, with her trademark eye rolls and dismissive tone, accusing Caroline of being nothing more than a mouthpiece for wokeness and a beneficiary of privilege. Sunny Hostin added fuel to the fire, insinuating that Caroline's career was built on white privilege. The audience laughed, the co-host seemed pleased, but Caroline remained quiet, composed, and observant. And then, the unexpected happened. Rather than retaliating on social media or launching a media tour to tell her side of the story, Caroline took a different route. She gathered the footage, the transcripts, and internal production communications that allegedly showed deliberate, targeted humiliation. Then, with her legal team behind her, she filed an $800 million defamation lawsuit not just against Whoopi Goldberg, but also Joy Behar, Sunny Hostin, and the network ABC. The claim: character assassination, media bullying, and a calculated attempt to publicly dismantle her credibility for political theater. What was once a snide segment on daytime television had transformed into a courtroom showdown, and the public was riveted. In court, the atmosphere was nothing short of surreal.
But they have been wrong about everything they have said over the last couple of years.
Whoopi Goldberg arrived with an air of celebrity cool, sunglasses, composed face, unshaken expression. But as Caroline's legal team began presenting their case, the mask began to slip. Eyewitnesses described Whoopi trembling, her expression changing as videos of her own past remarks played back before her. The content was damning. Comments mocking Caroline's intelligence, her appearance, even her accent. Then came the real bombshells, leaked documents and internal communications from The View's producers, suggesting they knew the tone of the segment was inflammatory and designed to put Caroline on the defensive. Whoopi reportedly whispered to her lawyer, buried her face in her hands, and at one point, during a recess, was seen wiping away tears. For someone once seen as untouchable, it was a stunning image. Meanwhile, Caroline Leavitt sat poised and silent, her demeanor not celebratory but resolute. She wasn't gloating, she was making a point. Her team had the receipts. They didn't just allege bias, they proved a systematic attempt to exploit her youth and political affiliation for entertainment value. One document, reportedly leaked during the hearing, instructed producers to steer the interview toward defensiveness and highlight her inexperience. That alone caused a gasp in the courtroom. When Whoopi's legal team claimed she wasn't aware of all production details, Caroline's lawyer responded with a now viral line: "Ignorance isn't a defense when you have a mic in front of millions." The ripple effect was immediate. ABC, long confident in The View's brand immunity, was now in full crisis mode. Advertisers began pulling out. Viewership dipped. Internal sources revealed that ABC was reviewing Whoopi's contract and exploring the possibility of not only parting ways with her, but canceling the show entirely. If Caroline wins, one analyst said, the precedent this sets will ripple through every newsroom and production boardroom in the country. But what's even more striking is how Caroline has handled the spotlight. Social media is ablaze with support, especially from conservative circles, where hashtags like #JusticeForCaroline and #MediaAccountability trend by the hour. But even moderate and neutral voices have taken notice. Her calm, fact-driven approach in court has earned her rare bipartisan praise. She hasn't painted herself as a victim. She's presented herself as a standard-bearer, someone challenging the notion that the press can say anything about someone just because they disagree politically. As for Whoopi, her past controversies resurfaced quickly. A recent segment in which she used scripture to defend controversial positions, including the rights of parents to approve gender-affirming treatments for their children, was used as further evidence of her divisive rhetoric. The courtroom and public backlash was swift, and the clip circulated widely as another example of what critics called the View's detachment from American reality. If the court rules in Caroline's favor, Whoopi could be ordered to issue a public apology, pay a significant portion of the damages, and possibly even step away from her decades-long role on The View. ABC itself could face structural changes and brand re-evaluations. But what matters more than even the verdict is what Caroline's case represents. In a world dominated by media personalities who speak without consequences, she has dared to say, enough. And unlike many who call for accountability, she came prepared, with facts, timelines, and evidence. She didn't just expose a media bias, she exposed a system of performative outrage, masked as commentary, and defended as entertainment. This trial may not end with a dramatic gavel slam and sweeping confessions, but it has already changed the conversation. Caroline Leavitt's choice to pursue accountability in the courtroom instead of the comment section signals a shift in how public figures might challenge defamation going forward. For Whoopi Goldberg, the journey from icon to defendant has been jarring. Once known for her fiery one-liners and confidence, she now stands as a symbol of the old guard, entertainers who forgot that their words, when weaponized, have real-world consequences. In the end, the real takeaway isn't just about who wins or loses the lawsuit. It's about what this moment says about our culture. The divide between Hollywood's echo chambers and the voices rising outside them is growing louder, clearer, and harder to ignore. And through it all, Caroline Leavitt hasn't shouted. She's simply pointed to the truth and let the facts speak for themselves.